Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Check-In podcast sponsored by Muscle Check. It's Lexi here from Lexi's Wellness Warriors and Shep from @GoShep, Matt Shepard. And we're going to chat today about Matt's coming up to a race that's happening very soon across the years. And it's a 6-day race, right, Matt? Right, Shep?
Yeah. 144 consecutive hours, 6 full days.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. And where is this taking place?
So this is a really neat venue because it's actually it's in the Sox and Dodgers spring training facility in Glendale, Arizona. It's called Camelback Ranch, and it actually just runs along one of the service roads that run around the park and then right up through the middle. So it's kind of a really neat venue, kind of really pretty. It's got a pond, a very small, I think like 5-meter hill in it. It's a mile-long course in Arizona, so amazing. Nice weather ahead.
And how many years have you been doing this race?
I did. My first time was in 2019 to 2020. It's called Across the Year, so it begins in December, on December 28th, and it will continue until January 3rd. So it goes across the years. And in fact, there's even a 10-day race that some people do, and it runs until the 7th. So some folks run for 10 days. Isn't that wild?
Wow, that's incredible. Just amazing. And so tell me, so in prepping for this, like how do you get ready? What's your strategy for getting yourself mentally and physically ready for this?
Oh man, that's such a huge question. Like it definitely is a lifestyle. Like if you're going to run for 6 days, you really have to enjoy running. So like as far as prepping goes, it's just a lot of continuous building blocks, building that structural tolerance that we talked about in a previous episode so that I can handle that load. A lot of this is, in my opinion, it's a mental game. It takes a lot of strategy and mental preparation, because 6 days, 6 days is a long time to do anything, especially if you don't take a break to sleep. Which I will take breaks to sleep in this. This is actually my 4th time taking on the 6-day format. And I've tried, a few different ways of organizing my sleep strategy. Some pay off, some don't. And so I'm really excited to kind of try a new strategy in this one that I've kind of been working on for a while, and we could dive into that. But like getting mentally prepared for going definitely with a big lack of sleep, and then just to do the same thing continuously for hour after hour it's just mentally it takes a lot of drive, and you really gotta love it. If you don't love being there, then there's just no way you're gonna make it through.
Yeah. And so, it might be a silly question, but in terms of, do you have music? Like, are you allowed to have, I know in some races, you're not allowed to have earbuds or anything. Are you able to do that? Do you do that? What do you do to kind of combat? Because you said like it's 6 days of the same thing. How do you, and I know we've talked about that in a previous episode as well, but just as a little refresher, how do you keep yourself entertained, for lack of a better word, or still there, like in it?
So this one's on a 1-mile loop course, which is a great thing and a terrible thing at the same time. Great because you're constantly in the same spot. It's safe. You don't have to worry about traffic. You can kind of just turn the brain off and go, and you're not going to get lost because it's a mile, it's a loop course, and you can pretty much see everything you need to see. But that is also the downfall, is you can see everything. So you don't get that new experience of, oh, wow, look at that mountain. It's getting closer. And, I can feel that I'm progressing along the landscape. So it's kind of like a little column A, a little column B. It's really interesting to take on a challenge like this. I do have a few different tricks up my sleeve for keeping myself entertained. In 2019, the last time I was on this course, these are the only headphones I brought, and you can see how large they are. These were my headphones. I would run in these, but I found that definitely over the length of 6 days, these become very heavy on my head. So I bought a smaller pair of like just little in-ear ones that I'll use for this upcoming one, and they're pretty comfortable. I've used them in previous races, but I'm looking forward to, just trying the different avenues I've created for keeping myself entertained. I like riddles. Sometimes I'll try to solve like little math equations that I'll make for myself. And then also, because it's a 1 mile course, everybody from all the different races will be gathered on that one course. And so you're constantly going to be somewhere where you can, communicate with somebody or see somebody else. The night times tend to thin out a little bit, but they'll have 24-hour runners, 48-hour runners, 72-hour runners, and even the 6-day, 10-day, and they're all on the same track. So they're all going to be, maybe running different paces, but you can probably catch up to somebody that's going about the same pace that you are, and communicate. And so that's really enjoyable with a race like that, where you're kind of all in one spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so again, if you're doing that loop, right, that constant loop, how do you, like in terms of planning, like, do you, with respect to like your sleep and your feeding and stuff, because we've talked before as well about how it's so important in terms of getting that fuel in because you're running for such a long period of time.
Yeah, and another positive for a track race, well, it's not a track, it's a mile, but it is, being on a loop is that your resources are only ever going to be 1 mile away. And the layout of this course is particularly great because they put the primary aid station on one end of the course, and on the south end of the course is where you set up your RVs. If you're bringing an RV, which I'm going to bring a camper with me. So that'll be my like home base. And then I'll have the aid station on the opposite side. So I'll only ever be like, say, half a mile away from a water source or a snack or anything. So that really will be helpful, that I won't actually have to carry anything if I don't want to. And so setting up, on opposite sides makes it really nice, makes the course seem short, but also long. If I only just go to halfway to get water and then halfway, it becomes very short. Or if I go the whole length in one go, it becomes a mile.
And so, Shep, do you have like, I know in cycling, right, there's a support team when people are cycling and doing their races. Same, like, do you, for this type of a race, will you have a support team with you, or is it just you, or do you have some family that are coming to cheer you on?
Yeah, I do have 2 crew members who are going to come with me. My brother, who has crewed me at this race in the past, and then my cook and friend Zeta, who has been with me for so many races. She's really got it dialed in. She's like kind of my crew master. So she's not been to this race before, so I'm really excited to kind of share this experience with her, and kind of see what we do, because we've been working together so long. Like, she knows when I start to go south, she can read it on me and say, hey, you need to get a little bit more these carbohydrates, or you need to, like, hey, try this, check this out. And so she's got it dialed in really great. So that's nice, especially after like I say, a 6-day race. By day 4, day 5, you may be so mentally fatigued that you don't think straight. It's so wild, because you feel confident in your answers and your decisions, but then thinking back on them, or even just looking at it from the outside, people go, that makes no sense at all. How did he arrive at that conclusion? So yeah, it's going to be terrific to have a team there to help support me, especially because I'm going to be going into this one planning to go pretty well sleep deprived.
Okay.
I do really well on a low amount of sleep, and when I do sleep, I get quality sleep very quickly. So I'm going to kind of utilize that as the backbone of my strategy, and try to spend as much time on the track going as slow as possible.
Right.
I've really been intrigued by this idea of negative splitting. I want to kind of explore it a little bit more. And what that means, sorry, just to back up, negative splitting is when you end up going faster in the second half, or if you divide it up into 4 pieces, you get progressively faster as you go through your race or your distance, instead of what typically happens is, say in a race, you come out of the gate and you feel really great. So you are going fast and taking advantage of those nice fresh legs. And maybe after 12 hours or 14 hours, you can't hold that same pace you could when you were just woke up and ready to fire out of the gate. So your pace is going to start to taper off. And even if you are at the same effort level, or perhaps even slightly higher effort level, your pace is going to it'll be slightly slower than it was. And so what a lot of runners will do is they'll come out of the gate really strong and try to get as many miles onloaded in the front to see how does this make, see like how far can I get before I start to taper off. And so with negative splitting, you're kind of doing the opposite. You're going, okay, I know I can run this fast. So if I take it easy in the beginning and then pick up that pace on the back end, the idea is that less opportunity for things to go wrong before the second half of the race. Nick Corey had a great podcast on this. He just set the US 24-hour record like 2 weekends ago, utilizing a negative split strategy. So it really is a neat idea to go out of the gate, spend the first, say, half of the day taking it very easy at the pace you would probably anticipate being in the second half of the race. And if you keep it light, don't push yourself, the chances of you having, say, a nutritional upset, a GI upset, which would slow you down, that goes down because you don't tend to have digestion problems when you're running easier, but when you're running harder, it becomes more and more difficult to digest. So if you slow down in the first half and kind of just coast through, you can get that nutrition on and feel really good, and then hit that middle point of the race and go, okay, now I know I only have, say, 6 more hours to go.
Yeah.
I can lean on it super hard. I can give it more effort now than I would have in the beginning, because in the beginning I've got 12 hours, but now I'm only halfway and I've got 6 hours. So if I can hold on, I can go, okay, let me just apply a little bit more pressure. And then I'm down to the last 3 hours. And, the first 3 quarters of my race has gone fantastic. I can leave it all on the track because I know, whatever's left in the tank is what's left in the tank. And so I don't know, it's a really interesting concept. And that's the mindset and the strategy that I'm going to take into this race. I want to try it out, see, what happens if I come into it really relaxed and calm and take a nice easy pace, and then try to pick it up on the second half of the day. And if that makes me feel good, like I anticipate it will, then I can start the next day again at that really, really easy pace, which would naturally make sense because I find that when I wake up after a sleep, it's always a little bit slower. It's harder to get moving. And then once you get warmed up, your pace it gets easier and easier and easier. But I think if I hold on to that slow pace for as long as I can comfortably, and then slowly start gradually picking it up throughout the day, and then at the end of the day, finish with a little bit of a kick, I'm kind of hoping that is going to lead to a really great performance over the length of 6 days. So I'm excited to try this one out. I really put a lot of thought into this plan, very meticulous, and I wrote it all down. So I'm really, really stoked.
That's awesome. And I mean, it makes sense. Like when you're explaining, it's like, okay, so you've kind of got a slow burn, slow start, and then you can ramp it up, right? When you're closer. And I mean, psychologically, to me, as you're explaining it, you're laying it out, it makes sense as well, because it's just like, okay, now I've got 6 hours, as you said, as opposed to the 12 that you started with, where it's like, I don't know if I can maintain this for that long, right? So yeah, that's fantastic. And so Shep, like when you were planning this out, I think that's the thing too. I wanted to ask you in terms of, do you do a lot of visualization when you're, especially with big races like this one? Like, is that part of your planning strategy as well? Is that visualization piece of it?
I'm so glad you brought this up. Yes. When I'm out on a run and I'm like, that's where I build these plans. I think about it. I think about what does the pace that I'm running right now feel like? And, having run a 6 day in the past, I know typically what my pace looks like after day 3, after day 4, when I'm not feeling well, when I'm feeling good. I've been doing it long enough that I have a really good idea of what pace I can hold on to. So when I'm building out that plan, I have to look at, number one, what's my pace going to look like on day 4 when I'm tired and it's the middle of the night. You know, what is the best pace I could hold, and what is the worst pace that I might hold if I'm feeling really crummy. And I look at those, and then I try to budget, you know, start to finish, you know, break it down day by day, and then also start to finish and see, you know, where can I best place my sleep, so that I'm not like trying to go for 40 some hours straight and then take a break. I've done that. It's, you know I can do it, but I don't think it's the best plan, as far as like, because I that was my mentality in the past, like get all of these miles in while I feel good in the beginning, and then just try to hold on till the end. And so I'm going to try to change that up. So instead of trying to front load all of this, you know, taking it easier, I think is going to be the key.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's again, right, that maths and science piece to the running. It's not just I put the shoes on and I run. There's a lot of planning and a lot of things go into this, especially this particular race where there is all of that sleep and looking at your past performances and how can you make it better and tweak, right? So and so you haven't done this kind of strategy before, is that correct?
So I'm kind of basing this on a few different races that I did. This race that I did in 2019, I actually set the record for the around the clock format, which is the race I was doing the last time I did this. And that means that you need to run at least 1 mile every hour for the entire 144 hours. So that like limits the amount of sleep that you can get. And so I did this once where I was very structured. I would go like 5.5 hours and then take a 40-minute nap and then get up and get back on the track. You know, and I was breaking it up in these chunks, and I found that was really helpful to have the structure, because it wasn't about the miles. I didn't care about how hard I was pushing. The idea was to like stand up, put your shoes on, and go. And I know that I really enjoy that. That is like one of my core racing. You know, I just love it. It's a part of bigs. You know, you have to, the backyard format, you have to just get up and go. And so I'm going to try to structure it in that same way, where I'm giving myself time limits. Like, this is where you need to be on the track, and this is when you need to be resting, and then try to make those so they line up with appropriate times for sleep, like when the sun is down, but not making it so I have to go a 28-hour stretch with no sleep. Try to compress it. So not too much sleep, not too short of sleep, not too long. It's a crazy balancing act. And so, you know, I'm excited because I put so much time and effort into building this off of all of the different races that I've been through. In fact, this one I just did recently, I did a 10K just this last weekend, and I had no anticipation of going hard on this race. I had been kind of thinking about this negative split, and I saw, you know, Nick Curry had just crushed that 24-hour record. And so I thought, you know, that's pretty interesting. And I ran 12 kilometers to the start of this 10K race. And I got there, and I, you know, sharing some start time vibes with some friends. And I put myself in the middle of the pack because I was like, I don't want to come out of the gate strong. It was a pretty big race, you know, probably 1,500 people there. So I put myself in the middle, and I was like, I'll just get it, you know, enjoy it. And so I got out and I started going, and I kept it nice and easy because I knew I had to run like 14 kilometers home afterwards. So I'm going, and as I get to like kilometer 3, I'm like, you know, I'm feeling actually pretty good. This is going really smooth. But I wouldn't let myself speed. I said, don't speed up too much, because let's see if we can put a kick at the end. And so when I hit 5 kilometers, I thought, man, this is really actually going really smooth. I can lean on it a little bit better. And so I started picking it up. And then the last 2 kilometers, I was like, this is terrific. And I just put into it and came out with the best 10K I've ever run. And I don't even feel, I feel like I left a lot out on the table. And so that was really exciting to go, you know, like not coming out of the gate slow felt really good. And I had kind of that similar experience in the race across Tennessee, where I kind of set that limit, like don't go too hard, have a lot of fun with it, and see where it goes and what happens. And so I did, and it came so smooth to go so easy. I know that if my goal was to run 10 miles and I had 24 hours to do it, I could go so slow I wouldn't even realize it.
Yeah.
But where do you find that little bit of where it's not too hard and just fast enough to start breaking records? So I'm really excited to go into this one and just see what comes out the other end.
That's amazing. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, as you said, right. And it's cool that you tried it out in your last race and saw what you felt, how it felt, and noticed different things. I think that's the thing too, is with each of the races that you've talked about, you're always really, it's noticing those sticky points and noticing those sweet spots and things like that as well. So yeah, I can't wait to see how this goes for you with this training method, right. Or with this strategy for running rather. So yeah. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, I'm stoked. But a lot of packing, a lot of things to get ready here before we kick off in I think a day and a half.
That's exciting. That's amazing. Yeah. So we're going to have to cheer you all on. And Shep, I'm assuming obviously you're going to be running, but I'm assuming maybe your crew will be posting a few things here and there for you while you're running. Is that right? At Go Shep on Insta, or?
Yeah, at go_SHEP.
Yeah.
Typically I manage my own Instagram while I race. I don't mind, I'm at that pace, especially on a 6-day, you're going slow enough, you can kind of play with your phone. And that's another benefit of having a 1 mile loop. You'll know every single step. You're not going to trip over anything.
Cool. So that way we know we can find you and we can get some updates as to where you are and how it's going and all of that. And again, it's at go_Shep on Instagram. And yeah, I know I'm going to be cheering you on and checking in every so often to see where you're at. But yeah, I don't know, Shep, are there any kind of final words you want to say to us before you get ready and get out there?
Yeah. If anybody out there listening, what really jazzes me up, I love to hear the things that you're doing. So if you're out there listening and I'm running, just give me a shout, tell me what you're doing. So let's say if what are you training for? What really gets you out there moving? And yeah, I love hearing all those things. So just give me a shout out. I love it.
I think that's the thing too, is I know as you and I have gotten to know each other better, I think that's the thing, is it doesn't matter whether your goal is walking around the block, getting a few steps in, or whatever it is. We love both you and I have that same kind of passion where we want to hear about people and we want to encourage them and just share in their victories and perhaps their challenges too. So definitely, yeah, please reach out. Let us know how you're doing, and any questions, as always, if you've got questions for Shep or myself or about Muscle Check as well, you can please reach out to at go_Shep. You can reach out to Shep, or you can reach out to me as well at Lexi Sasha. We would love to chat with you. So I guess with that, I'm going to wish you good luck, and I can't wait to chat with you again when we find out that you've won the race.
Yeah, buddy. That's what I want to hear. Nardini belt. That's the victory prize. Big giant oversized belt.
That's perfect. I think we need to have the Rocky music or something playing when you've got it, right? Hold it in that pose.
Yeah, let's plan it now because it's going to happen.
Okay, sounds good. I'll get the music queued up. We'll get ready. So thanks so much, everybody. And until the next time. Bye.